So the most interesting project, I worked on a few, but the most interesting was the enterprise agreement. So Jan went down to Ballarat for a couple of days to do an enterprise agreement with SEM. When she came back, she had to change a few pieces, double check the paperwork, and I got to overdo that with her. By overlooking that was just one of the most interesting projects that I had. When I first had my first week at Varley, we came into a position where performance management was key, and it was just lucky because that was the one areas that I wanted to focus on. We saw their incident down in the manufacturing, and just the way they went through, and they had specific procedures laid out where you have to fill out this form and then you have to aware this person and you have to do that. Just being so clear and precise to ensure that every T was crossed and every I was dotted. That was something that I would take into my career, that when I was to set up those procedures, that they have to be clear, they have to be precise, because if they weren't, then they would probably come back and come liable on them. I think also key was prioritising. When I first came, Jen was like, we're doing this, this and this, and then she would get a phone call and she's like, hold on a second, that now has to go over here and we have to slot this in here, and all of that. So I think just learning how to prioritise when a situation occurs, so you ensure that every task for every day is done and that you have a clear timeline of specific goals. So in 3 months you can do that, and in 6 months you have to do this. Having those clear goals set out really is something that I feel like I would need to do more in depth, more than I've done at university, to ensure that my career gets where it has to be. So the Lucy Mentoring Program did really well by linking me and Jan together. Jan had so much experience and history within the human resource management area. I've learned so much, and I think that's really important as a woman going into the workforce within 6 months. I strategically have to learn how to place myself within a workforce, and how as a HR management I can do that as a woman to become an overhead. So with Jan helping me during this 38 hours, even though it seems like a short period of time, and Varley being so versatile, I've learnt so much, and that's something that I think if they were going to do, I would highly suggest on doing. So when I first came to HR management, I always thought that it would just be a generalist HR manager's job. That's something that I would go into first so I could overlook everything. But as Jan has showed me, that there's very specialised positions, so there's specific recruiters and there's specific people that do performance management, and seeing Jan in her job is exactly what I want to do, which she's a generalist. She overheads every site and she has to communicate every day with every site to make sure that everything gets done correctly. I know work health and safety is a huge part of Varley. It wasn't something that I intended to wanting to go into. However, being here, I did learn bits and pieces and picked up with Hayley a few situations that I've become useful and I'll use as examples in my career. However, it's not something that I'll definitely go into, but it was good to have the background information. I think what I'll miss the most is the day-to-day activities. So when I came to Varley, there was always a new activity to be done, or task or challenge to overcome. So with that, every time I came here, I had to work with someone new or work with Jan to overcome a challenge that she made apparent. We also focused on performance management, which is also very interesting. So what we could do when poor performance management came up, or how we could appraise the people who did really well in performance management. So I think what I'll miss most is the day-to-day activities and how new they are, and how I never got stuck in one or bogged in one area. If any student was wanting to take work experience up with Varley, I think it would be a great opportunity for them. Varley is not exactly a major business yet, so there's a lot of growth there. So you can do a lot of learning and a lot of hands-on activities with your mentor. So if they want to do work experience here, it doesn't limit to them to something that has already been done. There's so many opportunities for them to use what they've learned in university, and they can actually physically put that to work here. So if they were going to do that, it would be an awesome opportunity for them.